Hello, friends. I actually had a different podcast that I was going to launch the other day. And then I decided I wanted to shift and address something that's been really heavy on my heart and I feel really important. And I've re-recorded this so many times, which only happens occasionally. But due to the suicide of Stephen Boss, Twitch, I wanted to address mental health and loss, especially as we step into the holidays. Mental health is something I've experienced myself in my own life, and so has my husband. And in addition, my husband lost a very close friend to suicide about 4 years ago. Someone who always showed up with a smile. Hard stuff. I didn't know Twitch personally, but this tragedy, like I shared, hit me hard. Like many of you, his warm smile and the amazing dances that he did with his wife on Instagram and other social media platforms just made me smile. It brought me so much joy, yes, to my heart and my soul, just to watch them dance together and connect with one another. You could feel their connection through the screen. And so today, my heart grieves for it all, the loss, the trauma, and the pain. And as much as I love social media, to be honest, I struggle with it sometimes. First of all, I think we really think we know people because we see them show up on a regular basis, most often smiling just like Twitch did, performing, sharing stories and encouragement and giving us advice and just showing up for us. Can you imagine how hard it was for Twitch to go on camera even just a few days before he ended his life? There he was, smiling and dancing with his beautiful wife. But inside, he was hurting and hurting so badly. Was he even allowed to be the real him? We expected him to show up for us too, didn't we? To be that happy guy. That's what he exuded. That's what he brought to the world, which is amazing. But we didn't really know him. We don't really know anyone's true private life behind closed doors. Even me. I've written a book. I have this podcast. I talk about my personal life and I've shared the hard things I've been through, but I don't always share everything. You don't see the moments when I doubt myself and I cry behind closed doors or I get so frustrated and doubt who I am and what I'm even doing. You see me mostly smiling through the camera, trying to be positive and help all of you. But I have hard days too. I understand what it feels like to show up and smile when you're hurting so much on the inside. I've done this more times in my life than I can count, and for moments that matter to others and moments that have mattered to me. Feeling alone and suffering in that darkness is real, you all. And sometimes we can feel alone even when we're in a crowd of people. This is why I wrote my book, Step Forward, because I want to offer hope and help to others. I want to help others step forward and through hard things and know that you can get beyond it. And I share my very personal stories of these hard things in my book because I want to make a connection with you. And I share one very specific time that I felt very alone after my parents divorced. And yes, it was a long time ago, but it changed my life. And it takes me back when I see people like Twitch who show up who are smiling, but inside they were hurting so much. I get it. If you're not familiar with my book, Step Forward, I use shoes as metaphors and tools that I've used in my own life to step forward when life was hard and how to walk through it, walk through these really hard things. And one of the shoes that I talk about are the battle boots because of the things that I was battling in my mind. And I talk about these 8 different things. And one of the things I talk about is feeling alone. Little did I know that when I wrote my book, how cathartic it would be, but more importantly, how much it would actually help someone else. And the goal is to let you know that you are not alone, that someone else has walked in similar shoes and been in this place and has tools to offer hope and help for you. One of the quotes that I use in the book is, "The toughest battle you'll ever fight in your life is the battle within yourself." That's by Anonymous. I think it's so fitting at this time. I knew for me, there were specific battles that I was fighting in my mind that I had to step beyond. Those battles of doubt and fear, worry, guilt, shame, feeling not enough, feeling unqualified, wondering if I mattered. Yes, I've been there, and maybe you have as well. And if you are there right now, I want you to know by the sound of my voice that you matter. You have a purpose in this life. I'm going to read you an excerpt from my book because I think it really applies. It's the battle number 2 that I was speaking about. It's called Feeling Alone. I remember myself as that young girl who saw the cup half full and the world as an opportunity. The girl who smiled all the time. I smiled so much that my grandfather actually nicknamed me Sunshine. Oh, I remember that girl. The girl who wanted to conquer the world and believed she could. Oh, she had mountains to climb and things to accomplish, but nothing was going to stop her. Do you remember feeling that way? Maybe you feel that way now. I hope so. I remember the day that my mom packed up and decided she was moving to Southern California. It was calling her, as were the words that no child wants to hear: divorce. I remember accepting it initially and thinking I understood. Well, the good girl in me really wanted to. But then, suddenly, it was all a blur. And at that moment, that one decision changed my life. Since that time, I've thought about decisions. Those that are made for us, for others, and those made with or without us. I'm referring to decisions over which you have no control. Those major decisions that affect your entire life, drastically alter it, and make you feel helpless. Those traumatic decisions that disrupt your life, making you feel like someone has just yanked the rug right out from underneath you, and you have nowhere to go. During trauma, we feel this way, don't we? Initially, I followed my mom to Southern California with so many promises of a better life, whatever that was at the time. But it was hard. I had a really hard time adapting, and I just wanted to go home. I bounced around for a while, and life went from hard to harder. I developed bulimia at the age of 17 and wanted to end my life, so I've been in this place. I went from a very bubbly, happy, and high-achieving teen to someone I didn't even recognize. I was always overly responsible, the hardworking good girl, and I tried to do the right thing. I worked even harder at trying to help everyone after my parents' divorce. I'm the oldest of 4, and I tried so hard to keep it all together for everyone and to help my siblings. But everything seemed to go from messy to messier for a long time. It was a bit like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride at Disneyland. Do you remember that ride? I sure do. It was a crazy wild ride. I won't bore you with all the details, but I just remember how hard I worked in school and at my grandfather's restaurant. However, I remember one very distinct night. I walked down a very dark road that bordered my parents' property, under the bridge and to the edge of the water. The only light was the bright moon above, shining on the water below. Wrapped in a warm blanket, I followed that road to the edge with the intention of jumping. And before I did, I heard a voice that said, "If you don't jump and commit your life to me, I will make things different. There is hope." This is the honest truth, you guys. I was not in a rational state of mind. I was in such pain. And at that time, I didn't even think about what was happening. I just was hurting, and I needed hope and something tangible in some way. I just wanted the pain to end because nothing made sense at that time. I felt like everything my parents taught me was a lie. Now, I'm not blaming them. They were each hurting so much in their own way that they were completely unable and ill-equipped to help all of us. But I stood there and I spoke. "God, is that you? Is that really you? Are you talking to me?" I paused. I have no idea why. I waited some more, and gently the voice spoke again. I heard the words, "Yes." Warm tears flowed from my cheeks, and I cried from the depths of my soul. And obviously, I didn't jump because I'm here to tell you this story today. I believe in angels, I believe in God, I believe in intervention, and for whatever reason, that moment happened in my life at that time. And I'm glad I listened to God that day, because at that time, I felt like I was living in a glass bubble, in a very small town. Everyone knew everything about me, and I didn't feel like I could even be the real me and show my pain. I knew I had gone from this very extroverted, happy, driven, outgoing teen to someone I didn't even recognize in a very short amount of time. And I remember that I made a promise that if I ever got married, and that was a big if at that time, and if I ever had kids, I would never do this to them. Well, that was quite a promise from a young girl at that time. I'm grateful I listened to God that day, and I'm even more grateful to show up and be here, to have this podcast, to talk to you, to have written a book, to inspire others, to step forward beyond hard things and offer hope. And I think about how grateful I am to be here. What would I have missed out on? I would have missed out on raising 4 amazing children that I love so much. The opportunity to be the mom that I am, to be married for 33 years, even through all the hell we've been through. And as I feel today, the older I get, the less I understand. These complexities in life cause us to pause, don't they, and reflect when things don't make sense. But events like this and the pandemic, I think, trigger all of us in many ways. Old wounds, old trauma, fear, uncertainty, and memories of loss. I think it's important that we recognize that 1 in 5 people suffer from mental and brain health issues. This is equivalent to nearly 50 million people. And the statistics also show that this is increasing post-pandemic. So this is important that we have an awareness of this, that we don't place judgment, that we show compassion, and that we realize that we really don't know people behind their smile. So what are my takeaways and encouragement for you? Number 1, if you are struggling, reach out to someone, a professional who specializes in this, and talk to a friend or someone you trust, someone at your church. And I know this is hard because those of us that are strong on the outside, we don't always let people see our true selves and our pain. And I just want to encourage you to be vulnerable and know that you matter, that you have a purpose, and you have people that do understand. Number 2, let's be kind to ourselves. This is hard. This is a hard time of year. It triggers a lot of things for many of us. And let's celebrate the beautiful, wonderful things that we have in our lives. Because at the end of the day, it's not the things, it's people. So number 3, perhaps you're like me and this has triggered your own experience. Something that's happened to you, someone you love, or perhaps someone you lost. Just take a moment and rest, take a beat, and allow yourself just to be. Number 4, let's just be kind to one another. Let's hold space. Take time to really listen to people. Ask questions. And if you're a highly sensitive person like I am, you can read people. You can see it on their face, or you can just feel it. So check in. Ask people how they are. Look them in the eye. And allow them to tell you if they're having a bad day. Then offer compassion. Offer a shoulder, an ear, and a hand to help them rise. Number 5, remember, most people don't allow you to see the real them, especially on social media. Number 6, just wrap your arms around those you love. And number 7, remember how much you matter. You are seen, you are heard, you are loved, and you belong, dear one. You still have so much to offer the world, no matter your age or the season of life that you're in. The world needs your light. And take whatever mess has happened in your life and turn it into a message to help other people, to connect and let them know you're not alone. I love you all so much. Go have an amazing day, and until we meet again, God bless. Let's step forward together. Well, I really hope this episode touched your heart and soul today, and you felt the compassion, the connection, and the extension of a hand to help you rise. This was a hard episode for me to do, but one that I felt was very important. And please stay tuned and follow along here on the podcast, as well as my Hello Redlo Instagram and the Hello Redlo Facebook group, as well as my personal Terri Mullen Facebook, because I am going to launch some new things within the Hello Redlo community in the coming year to create connection and to help you step forward with your life. Step beyond these hard things and rediscover who you are. God bless.